What's going on, everybody? It's K4K Crypto here, coming at you. Got another video. I know it's been a little bit. Thank you guys for liking and subscribing to the channel, even while I haven't been around. I was traveling for a bit, and I came up with a lot of new ideas, and I want to start sharing with you guys. The whole reason since I got back, I haven't made a video is because I've been working through so much stuff, and I sometimes I find things that maybe I don't even like the answer I found. Like, I figured something out, and then I'm like, how I better figure out a good angle on this one, because I don't want to just release any sort of FUD or anything out into the wilderness without thinking it all the way through. But I do also know that some truth needs to be said out in this space, and so I'm always trying to bring as much truth and valuable information to you guys as possible. I do think these projects by Richard Hart are the best projects in crypto that are going to make you the most gains. Not financial advice, of course. But him and his team have a track record with Hex. Follow the trend. You can kind of just see it in the pudding. He wants to build the best projects in crypto with the best performance. He's already built crypto that has done that and hasn't had any issues for 2 years. Even though everyone called it a scam, it's turned out to outperform literally everything else in 2 years. Now all the haters are quiet, and now their stuff's dumping, and they're looking for places to park their money. All the big YouTubers, BitBoy, Crypto Lark, I don't know. I probably shouldn't even be naming them because they're going to scam you if you go and watch their content into margin trading or something, instead of doing what's healthy, which is delaying gratification and holding good projects for a long time. So they've already sacrificed. Like, Richard knows that their addresses that they've sacrificed from, and they're gonna be in these projects. What does that mean in the future? That means that all of their audiences and everybody that they're connected to, they're going to now be incentivized to tell people about it. Those people, I know BitBoy owned some Hex for some time, but then he sold it and then he doesn't talk about it anymore. But these guys actually sacrifice some of their own money, and all of their users, everyone in the world's user base on Ethereum, everyone who has a user base on Ethereum or fans on Ethereum, every one of those guys is going to have free stuff given to them on the Pulsechain. And so they're all going to be constantly talking amongst themselves in all their channels. Hey, what about on Pulse? I have this coin, and Pulse I have this coin. They're going to be saying that stuff to all their influencers, and the influencers also probably sacrificed because they saw how well Hex did, and they're like, I'm not missing it this time. I don't care if I don't like the guy. So they're gonna be talking about it. They're gonna be talking about the Pulsechain, and so I don't think we're gonna have that kind of gatekeeping like we did for Hex in the past. So expect way more onboards than you've ever seen. That's one awesome thing I've been thinking about is basically those guys are now incentivized to pump their own bags, which is all they're ever good at is just they buy something and then they tell their crowd about it and then try and dump on their heads. So that's what they do. But hey, these people, they're going to hear about this awesome ecosystem, and then they're closer to greatness. They're not still stuck in the swamp and cesspool that is Ethereum and its gas fees, and now they can experience very, very fast transactions, cheap transactions, a very liquid DEX with more pairs than ever before. Probably the best appreciation they've ever seen in the past. If they hold the right projects. Now, let's talk about something cool here. Oh, yeah. I do want to say thank you I have 8 members on the channel, so I'm just going to name them out here. Sticking with me, even though I haven't been updating the past couple days. Thank you, Cody, Eamon, Hodl4, Eroy, PayMeHex, Oscar, YTC, and Don. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the support. Now, let's get to something cool. All right. Well, one thing I do want to get through to people, I'll see if I can portray it here quickly. Oh, I don't have anything cool up on the screen. Wow. Check it out. I'm shrinking down. Get me out of here. Woo! All right. All right. Check it. $1 billion, guys. No one's talking about it in crypto. If you're new to the channel, you didn't know about this crypto, what? Who have you been listening to? The wrong people. They tell you about stuff after it's gone up 100,000x. This is getting in on the ground floor. You ever get into something before it even launched? How many people can say they got into a project before it ever even launched? Not many people. You know, most noobs and stuff, they see something go up really high and then they buy it and then they wonder why they lost all their money on the ride back down during the cycle. How can you lose getting in on something before it ever hits the market? It's like, how often do you get that opportunity? Especially one that's designed so well and tackles such a large market. It's not like it's this niche little coin and, you know, it's NFTs but bunnies this time. Like, yeah, maybe the guys who like bunnies will buy it. We're talking about an infrastructural ground, like the basic framework for supporting everything in the future. This is like you don't get more important than these pillars of a decentralized ecosystem. We got the network, you know, the thing that everything runs on. That's the Pulsechain. Kind of important, you know. Then there's the decentralized exchange. You know, the way that you can trade stuff without counterparty risk. You don't have to worry about Binance stealing all of your funds. Go look at the Binance scam hashtag on Twitter sometime. There's just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people with screenshots like, Binance, let me back into my account. It's been 6 months. I can't get my money out. What? Why are you guys, like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm in crypto to have sovereign control over my money, my hard-earned money, and nobody else can dilute it or steal it. You know, that's kind of the point, is owning and controlling your own property. No one else can take it from you. Well, that's what decentralized exchange is. It allows you to trade without borders, without laws, without something or somebody eyeballing you and taking a peek at every little thing you're doing, and or trying to gatekeep you and stop you. Like, oh, you're not an accredited investor? You can't get into this IPO. You can't get in at the early stages. Okay, well, $1 billion can easily, through the power of cryptocurrency and decentralization and smart thinking by the founder, anyone in the world can participate in getting into the earliest stage of a project. That's amazing. That's like groundbreaking for humanity. Like, people don't understand how powerful this stuff is. I'm excited. So, $1 billion. So apparently people enjoy political statements regarding freedom of movement and assembly, and I'm glad that people are sacrificing for that. But yeah, there are literal multiple billionaires, multi-billionaires in this project. If you watched Funding Jim on Lit Stream, My Life is Awesome, you might check him out on YouTube. Awesome guy. Awesome guys. Funding Jim has onboarded multiple billionaires and has talked to and knows at least like 6 or 7 billionaires who are in these projects. That's good, guys. That's amazing. Like, to get people who have that kind of money, they don't just like throw it around. You know, they're very conscientious about money. They understand it. That's why they were able to amass so much. You know, you can easily lose a fortune if you don't know what you're doing. And these guys know what they're doing. So, all right. So enough about this sacrifice phase. Let's talk about something interesting. I'm going to give a little tidbit, and then I'll go and I'll try and break down how the automated market maker FixerBot works. So I've seen some renditions of some people trying to explain it, and I think they're missing one key point, and I get a lot of questions in my Telegram channel arguing about how it works, and it's like they come from some other video, and I'm like, that's just not right. So sorry, I guess, but like, this is how it works. So we'll get to that in a second. But one thing that I thought of, you know, right as I was leaving, to travel, and I was really sad I couldn't make a video for you guys, is I was thinking about, in Pulsex, whenever 21% of every fee on the platform from all the other tokens being traded every second of every day, so 21% of every fee, doesn't matter what token, that gets collected. And then it's in an address, and that address can potentially buy and burn Pulsex, okay? So something that someone brought to my attention, or we have just been talking about it, it was kind of just public knowledge, like, oh, okay, there's going to be it's basically any sell of any coin, that is the coin. It's like if I sell Pulse against any pair. If I sell Pulse, 0.29% of that Pulse I sell, the units, will be subtracted and moved aside into that fee address. Well, actually, 76% of that 0.29 goes to the liquidity providers. And then there's like 24% that goes to the address, which is for the basically it's set aside, and 21%, I know I said 24 because there's actually like there's 0.01 of the 0.29 that will not, you should have no expectations of it. But technically now, since the buy and burn isn't a public function, it's 0.07, because we had that 0.06 that was originally planned for the buy and burn automatically. Since it can't be automatic now, pretty much 0.07 of it is all, you can't expect anything of it, but we can assume, we can guesstimate, we can watch on chain what's happening with that wallet. I'm going to wager we will see some buy and burn with, at least 0.06 of that fee. So all the people saying, oh, there's no buy and burn, no buy and burn. Yeah, it's not automatic anymore, which is kind of a bummer. And we can't have anyone saying that it's guaranteed buy and burn, because then we may have expectations of profit from the work of others, and that makes it a security, and we don't want that. So we just have to see what that address does. I think that address has the best interest in mind that is good for the whole ecosystem, because they benefit by growing the pie, by growing the ecosystem, by using it how everyone kind of is hoping it's used. If they do something like weird that would hurt the whole ecosystem, that hurts their bags, which, why would they do that? They're incentivized to do something that everyone wants it to do. It's just they can't say what they're going to do with it. Get what I'm saying? So, now that we got through all that, it's so annoying having to talk about it that way. I understand. So, anyway, that set aside amount, that can be used for buy and burn. If you were to get a fee in Pulse or Hex or eHex or the incentive token or in Pulsex. So imagine you can get a fee in any unit of any coin. They will all go to this address, all in little bits of each coin, okay? But and anyway, so in order for the address to use that to purchase Pulsex, what's happening is it's selling all those individual pieces to purchase up the Pulsex. And so what I realized was, okay, so that means it has to sell sometimes Pulse, Hex. Obviously, it can't sell Pulsex to get Pulsex, so we were wondering what happens with that. I'm thinking it just gets burnt because it's just sitting there and owned by that address that buys Pulsex and then burns it. Sometimes, not sometimes, but should, or may, I should say, buy it and then burn it. So it's probably just going to burn it, that percent that's in Pulsex. So, but what have we, and then I realized, so the Pulse, anyways, okay, so the Pulse or Hex or eHex or incentive token that this address receives, I was like, huh, it's gonna have to sell that. So that's like constant sell pressure on those tokens and every other token in the whole ecosystem. It's selling those down to buy Pulsex. And I was like, you know what? What have we seen this type of address do before with coins it likes? The sacrifice address seems to never sell hex. The OA address seems to never sell hex. It doesn't seem to sell coins that it likes. So it wouldn't really match up, in my opinion, for it to sell those coins that it receives in fees. So I would go so far as to wager all those fees generated in the form of, like, anytime someone would sell hex, we'll say, 0.06, 0.07% of that sell of hex, that will be sent to that fee address. And that address owns it. They can do whatever they want with it. I don't think they're going to sell that. I don't think they're going to sell it if they get Pulse. I don't think they're going to sell it if they get Pulsex. I don't think they're going to sell it if they get eHex in that address. So originally it was going to be constant potential sell pressure for those coins, but I think those top 5 coins that Richard Hart likes, I don't think those are ever going to get sold. So we may see, it's almost like a little bit of an extra sink of coins that from sellers will just be pretty much permanently removed off the market. Why would that address sell its favorite coins? Do you sell your favorite coins? I don't think so. It has every other coin in the world to sell. It doesn't need to sell these. So it's going to be selling every other crypto from Ethereum side, from Pulsechain side. It's selling every other crypto from those two chains in order to buy up, it can buy anything. It can buy up Pulsex. It can buy up Pulse. It can buy up Hex. It can buy up anything. Now, I'm guessing it's going to buy up Pulsex because that was like the original intent, and it would be weird to change it up. But we can't really, we have no idea what this address is going to do. But if you think about it like this, every other crypto gets sold over time, gets collected, and then sold over time to buy Pulsex only. It's like we're draining the swamp and we're pumping the top 5 coins that Richard Hart likes. This is what he's been talking about, where we're going to dominate crypto. Like, we made a better network. People basically have to come over here. Like, if it's $200 to do a swap on Ethereum for the same token you can get over here on Pulsechain, it's just like a no-brainer. It's like the only people doing that are people who just don't know yet. And so basically people are going to come over to Pulsechain. They're just going to see that it's better. And most people aren't going to realize that slowly but surely everything else is just being gathered up and it's being sold to buy only potentially 5 coins, in my opinion. Pulse, Pulsex, Hex, eHex, and the incentive token maybe, because it's like a fifth token by Richard. So how crazy is that? Oh my gosh. We're just like we're absorbing the power of every other crypto, like all the economic energy of those cryptos, and slowly but surely we're just selling them down and moving the profits into good coins. Like, what? We're harnessing over time, and it's not so much that they'll notice right away, It's pretty awesome. And if it doesn't go into all 5 coins and it's just Pulsex, great. I sacrificed for Pulsex. I go for Pulsex. I don't care. But it's like I'm gonna have all those coins. I don't know about the incentive token coin, but I'm holding all those coins. I'm very excited to see what that address does if it actually holds all those coins, like I said, because that's like an extra, it's like removing them from supply, like all the hex it generates and all the e-hex and all the pulse it gets. Why would it sell its favorite coins down to buy just like one of its other coins? It probably won't do that. If it, yeah, I don't see why it would. And if it does, great for Pulsex. It gets a little bit extra buy pressure, whatever. But I don't see why it would. Based on how we've seen the OA and the sacrifice address just doesn't ever sell hex. I don't see why it would be like, you know what, I'm gonna sell hex now. Like, why would it start selling hex? I don't get it. So that was one of the breakthroughs I had. So yeah, I don't think we'll see the selling of those 5 coins from that buyback and burn address. I don't think anyone else has said that. Let's see. Dude, I got like papers and papers. You guys looking at this? What's going on here? What? We got plans on plans over here. I ran out of index cards writing down all these notes. Like, I had a 400 cards of index cards front and back, all used up. I'm going to printer paper. It's crazy. Well, let's explain how maybe I should do it in a separate video. Yeah, we'll do a separate video. You guys need more videos. And this one I might have rambled a bit, but I thought it was pretty cool that those 5 different tokens are probably just never going to get sold. It's like a hidden kind of, oh, why would it sell those things? Oh, it probably won't. What's that mean? Oh, it means these 5 are going to crush it harder than everything else. World domination, everybody. It's real. It's happening. Like, this is the way by which we do it. Is selling every other crypto that it gets. Oh, here. Since you stayed to the end of the video, I'm going to give you a little tidbit. Some people don't like that it's not an automatic buy and burn function now, and I'm a little bummed by that. I wish it was. I like not having to depend on any sort of address that, But there are benefits to having an entity like that, as we've seen with the Hex OA and how it can control those coins, but it does things in a benevolent manner that helps the ecosystem grow, which makes your bags get bigger. So I don't know why people complain about that. But by having this address be agile and not a publicly called function, guess what? Those fees it generates way early on, when the prices of these tokens are very, 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 very low, if it doesn't have to sell them immediately in order to buy Pulsex or whatever it wants to buy, if it holds these tokens for even a week or a month, can you imagine like the growth in like a bullish type scenario in a bullish growing basically cycle? Those fees can become like monstrous, like monumental, like way more than if you sell them immediately. Like if you sell them immediately on the day, if you have $1 billion of volume, it's like $600 worth of buy pressure for Pulsex if it were to do it daily based on the volume. Now, what I'm trying to portray here is, in the beginning, whenever a fee is made, it's of the units used. Okay, so if it's very, very cheap, it takes like hundreds of millions of coins. So like it's like you could see like $1 billion or $1 billion unit amount as like a fee for, say, Pulsex or Pulse. I mean, but those won't be sold. But imagine it's a coin that has 1 billion of them. Like it takes 1 billion in a fee, like that, like because you're trading billions at a time. And then if that coin goes up 100x in price before it's sold, it becomes that fee it saved also 100x, and so it has 100x the economic buy pressure. So, and it's in other tokens, so it can sell other tokens down after they've 100x'd. It's the difference between You know how back in the day, early on when hex is really cheap, and you would see like people, throwing around millions of hex because it's were like, oh, it's only like $100 or it's like $200, 100 for like a million hex. And so people were trading those around, and all those fees generated back then were in like the millions or billions of hex. And so if they were held until now, imagine a million hex today versus a million hex 2 years ago. By holding it longer, it becomes worth way more. And so by strategically having this address able to do whatever it wants, it can hold these coins like other coins that it gets in fees. If it's strategic with them and is good at timing markets or doing something like this, it can actually be a benefit and cause more buy and burn by selling these fees of these tokens when they're at a better when they're in a better like part of the cycle. So it can sell them for like a lot more, as opposed to being automatically sold immediately, because then you can only get the benefit of whatever its price was that day. Now that doesn't mean if you do it wrong, it can be worth less buy and burn pressure. But as we've seen, crypto tends to go up and to the right, So yeah, if it wants to use that wisely and time the market, it can actually get even more buy and burn pressure than just selling it immediately. So it has that extra benefit. So I thought that was pretty cool. Now we're just going to see what that address will do. I'm not saying the address will hold stuff. Maybe it just does it daily. Even if it does that, we've already seen the math. If you've seen on my Twitter thread about a crazy like 400x in 6 months. So if you saw that is totally in the cards. It's pretty crazy. But hey, that math is it's what it looks like, and that's just if no one does anything. That's pretty crazy to me. Anyway, I'll make another video explaining the AMM Fixer bot. I'm going to try and do that tonight. Thanks for watching, guys, and peace out. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for watching the video all the way to the end. I really appreciate you guys helping me out with the channel, liking and commenting, subscribing. This is how we make impact in the world. We're not going to make impact if people don't hear our message. So spreading good information when you find it helps everyone, and it helps yourself. So feel free to check out these videos I have recommended here. And thank you again for supporting the channel.